Chapter 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 25, Level Up the Altar. Summon Hero Number 2. 1/4, please vote. Wu Qi understood what Lin Daiyu was hinting at. She wanted a good friend to keep her company, or perhaps she just missed her old friends, but the first summon gave him a gold-tier hero. What about the second? Lin Daiyu's amazing performance fueled Wu Qi's excitement. Master, I only hope. Lin Daiyu said, flustered as she saw Wu Qi lost in thought. Just follow your plan, young master. All right. Wu Qi smiled and waved his hand. Let's grab those treasure chests first. He glanced outside. The battlefield was a mess, a sea of blood, littered with monster remains. Points of light materialized into kill treasure chests. Yes, sir. Lin Daiyu, relieved, joined Wu Qi in collecting the treasure chests. 618 monsters meant 618 chests. It was exhausting. Afterward, Wu Qi was beat, but he relied on Lin to stash them all away. However, he wasn't ready to open them just yet, because the Red Mansion has a hero bond, the 12 beauties of Jinling. Ignoring the stat boosts for now, even that luck +1 would affect what he got. Even if 1 point of luck didn't make a huge difference, it was worth the small delay. Why rush? Back at the territory. Wu Qi had the armored boars gather near the shack, feeding and watering them. Then, he and Lin Daiyu approached the Red Mansion. Upgrade, Red Mansion Star, Level 1-2. New heroes can now be summoned. Hero level cap unlocked at level 2. 200 void source stones vanished, but the Red Mansion looked exactly the same. Wu Qi went inside alone, sat at the table, and placed 10 void crystals on it. Summons from the altar were divided into standard and advanced. A standard one cost 10 void crystals, an advanced one, 100. The odds were naturally far different. I got a legendary hero on my first summon. I really lucked out. Of course, Goldfinger helped. Without it, no amount of luck would have gotten me a legendary hero from a normal altar. Wu Qi steeled himself and tapped, summon. Instantly, 10 void crystals disappeared, and the ink scroll flickered wildly. A figure began to materialize, gold trim, silver trim, then, copper trim flashed by. Wu Qi felt a pang of anxiety. This gacha game felt all too real. Soon, the light show ended on a copper trim. Tip, received a jade belt and Luo Shang garment. Wu Qi. No jackpot this time, it seemed. No one appeared in the seat across the table. Seriously? Is it really just a loot box here? That's not how other altars work, right? Wu Qi was bummed. He looked at the table and saw a new outfit, a jade belt and a silk tulle dress, a gorgeous women's outfit. Pretty clothes, but not for me, thanks. Wu Qi's face fell. He threw in more void crystals. -10. -10. -10. -10. After 10 more tries, Wu Qi felt drained. Ink scrolls kept appearing, but gold never showed up again. Silver appeared once. Most were copper. His initial luck was exactly that, luck. The silver pull wasn't bad, a decent piece of gear, tensile gloves, type, equipment, quality, purple, level, 10, attributes, strength +20, spirit +5, effect, dust repellent, stays clean, requirements, constitution 50, description, a pair of beautiful white silk gloves. Not for the weak. Lin Daiyu could use those gloves. They'd give her a real boost. The copper rewards, though, were pretty bad. 7 sets of women's clothes. A box of rouge. A golden jade hairpin. They looked nice, but he had a goal. He wanted girls, not outfits. Wu Qi's face darkened. He decided to go all in on advanced summons. Void crystal -100. Tip, received the item, ecstasy smoke. Again. Void crystal -100. The ink scroll reappeared, swirling with hazy clouds. Suddenly, a figure appeared across from Wu Qi. A red wedding dress, a phoenix coronet, her captivating face and slightly parted lips, and her charming eyes were wide with surprise. Hero acquired, Chin Kaching. Chapter 26, The Tale of Qin. February 4th, please vote. When all good things must come to an end, all beauty fades away, a mysterious voice echoed through the Red Mansion, reaching the ears of both Wu Qi and Qin. Wu Qi was taken by surprise as he looked at the woman in the wedding attire. Was she, Qin? Why a wedding dress? If he remembered right, Qin died young, driven to suicide by her sickly husband and her father-in-law's affair. But the Qin before him looked only 16 or 17, her makeup was flawless, and her eyes and lips were stunning. She looked shocked and confused. She's getting the info dump, I bet, Wu Qi's mind raced. He pulled up Qin's stat panel and read through it. Chapter 22. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Qin, *identity *hero, *race *human, *rarity *golden legend, *level *1, 0/200 XP, *bloodline *Taishu fairy +1, *talent Fengyue treasure mirror +1, bond Jinling 12 beauties, constitution 110, base 10, multiplier 1000%. Bonus 10. Spirit 110, base 10, multiplier 1000%. Bonus 10. Bio wielding the Fengyue treasure mirror, she sees through all secrets. Taishu fairy +1, bloodline rarity golden legend, attributes significantly boosts mental power recovery speed. Comprehensively enhances physical and spiritual stats. Details a fairy from the Taishu dreamscape. Fengyue treasure mirror +1, talent rarity golden legend, attributes reveals enemy weaknesses, greatly increasing damage when exploiting them, details her signature treasure, now transformed into a talent, Jinling 12 beauties bond rarity blue. Bond attributes when Jinling 12 beauties fight together, each additional member grants +10 constitution, +10 spirit, and +1 luck, current bonus +10 constitution, +10 spirit, +1 luck, Details combat power increased by 10 points. Another golden legend, could it be that every hero from the Red Mansion, every one of the Jinling 12 beauties, is a golden legend? Wu Qi's eyes lit up as he carefully examined the stat screen, thrilled by what he saw. Qin's stats were nearly as impressive as Lin Daiyu's. While Lin Daiyu excelled at raw power, Qin boasted incredibly high stats, and her Fengyue treasure mirror talent seemed like a formidable support ability. Exploiting weaknesses. Textbooks say that kind of talent is killer for ranged classes. An idea sparked in Wu Qi's mind, plus, both were heroes from the Red Mansion, activating a bond that boosted their stats by 10 points each, but what excited Wu Qi most was that both heroes granted +1 luck. Everyone had luck, it was essentially fate, unpredictable, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but a luck stat was like extra fortune. When things were going your way, that stat made things even better. And when you were down on your luck, it softened the blow. So, the higher the luck, the better. Nobody would complain. Wu Qi recalled a luck example his teacher had shared. During Xuanhuan High School's last year, a struggling lord in the newcomer trial kept facing setbacks. He barely survived waves of monsters, suffering heavy losses, but then, the next wave turned out to be light spirits. The senior's territory happened to be in a dark zone, dropping light spirit stats by 99%. He survived for 30 days and snagged the Void Award. Now, he's rocking it in university. His territory was unique, boosting luck values. Luck is a strength. Don't begrudge others their good fortune. Nodding to himself, Wu Qi remembered those words. Meanwhile, Qin seemed to snap out of a trance, looking directly at Wu Qi. A voice like wind chimes echoed. Lord. Master. Yep, you should have the basics by now. Wu Qi nodded with a smile. Just call me Wu Qi. Qin hesitated, then offered a wry smile. I'd rather call you Master. Real or fake, truth and fiction, there's a whole world out there. Maybe those stories aren't so far-fetched. Her delicate face was etched with confusion as she murmured to herself, unlike Lin Daiyu, Qin Keqing was clearly disoriented. When did you arrive? Wu Qi couldn't help but ask. Qin Keqing seemed a bit lost. In the bridal chamber. It was my wedding day. I was waiting, and then, you summoned me. P.S. Chaomunda took it, please give flowers and votes. Chapter 27, The Hesitant Legendary Hero, 3/4. Please collect. Wedding day. You were summoned just after you died? Wu Qi asked, stunned. No, Qin Keqing replied, a hint of shyness in her voice, pursing her lips. You summoned me, young master. I don't know what'll happen to the wedding now. Right, you and Lin Daiyu are different cases, Wu Qi said after a pause. From now on, you're my hero. You should have the relevant information. If you need anything, or want to know more, just ask. There's another partner of yours out there, her name is Lin Daiyu. The Lord Era was a time of endless void, a myriad of worlds, home to immortals, gods, demons, and the struggle of all races. All this information, Qin Keqing absorbed gradually. As a hero, she received basic information automatically. The Lord didn't need to teach her everything from scratch, but such shocking details left her disoriented, unsure how to interact with Wu Qi. Parents' orders, the matchmaker's word, she accepted her fate and was marrying Jia Rong as her adoptive mother requested. She was distracted. In the bridal chamber, she waited for her future husband, but in an instant, she left the room, even left her world, and entered a glorious era, and the man before her was her master. Qin Keqing wasn't the type to be headstrong. She was gentle and shy as she looked at Wu Qi. I'll just die once at most. She thought, but the terrible scene she imagined never happened. Instead of harming her, Wu Qi explained things kindly, and he even talked about introducing her to a partner. Her fear and worry began to fade, replaced by a touch of warmth. Oh, you must be uncomfortable in those formal robes. Wu Qi patted his head, pulled out a few outfits he'd picked out, and said with a smile, here, change into something more comfortable. As you wish, young master. Qin Keqing nodded, her slender hand reaching to remove the heavy crown. Her smooth, black hair cascaded down, her red lips were gently pursed, and her striking eyes sparkled. The crimson eye shadow did nothing to hide their beauty. Her wedding dress was elaborate, embroidered with intricate designs and decorated with accessories. Qin Keqing marveled at the clothes laid out on the table. Each piece was a masterpiece, with impeccable designs and materials. She couldn't afford anything like this back in her world. Gorgeous clothes always drew women in. Qin Keqing reached for the clothes, but then she hesitated, remembering Wu Qi was there. She wanted to ask him to leave, but what if he got angry? He was her master now. Hesitating, she bit her lip, her hands trembling as she untied her wedding gown. A soft click echoed as the dress and accessories fell to the floor. Wu Qi looked up, staring involuntarily. Chapter 23. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Qin Keqing was wearing just a thin robe, her long hair cascading down her back. Her beautiful face was a blend of shyness, radiance, and fragility, accentuating her perfect figure. Wu Qi hadn't noticed how little she was wearing beneath those heavy clothes. Master. Qin Keqing murmured, sensing his gaze. Her voice was a soft, tender whisper. Wu Qi blushed, reluctantly looked away, and hurried out. As he left, Qin Keqing sighed in relief, then looked at the clothes laid out on the table with a hint of excitement, and began to pick out something to wear. Outside the red chamber, Wu Qi took a deep breath, his mouth suddenly dry. He grabbed a bottle of water and gulped it down. By the door, Lin Daiyu's eyes sparkled with amusement. So, the new sister is a real knockout, huh? Got you all flustered, master. You know Qin Keqing, Wu Qi said, swallowing. But yeah, I summoned her to marry Jia Rong. Really? Lin Daiyu sounded genuinely surprised. She didn't know Qin Keqing well, but she knew her tragic story, how the Jia family had essentially killed her. Well, maybe this is better. If she marries into the Ningguo mansion, she's doomed anyway. Lin Daiyu smiled, then playfully nudged Wu Qi. Looks like the young master's got an eye for the ladies, huh? That Wu Qi didn't answer, as he considered her point. Asterisk seemed pretty good, starred, P.S. Please collect it. Chapter 28, Pretty Daiyu, Lovely Keqing, 4 out of 4. Please collect it. Actually, the heroes a lord summons are naturally going to be loyal and favor you. In a way, a hero is more reliable than your own family. Relatives might betray you, but heroes are willing to die for you. As for Lin Daiyu and Qin Keqing, Wu Qi wasn't some saint. He was definitely tempted. He was possessive, and, well, he liked pretty women. That makes sense, Wu Qi said, smiling. Lin Daiyu's eyes danced. If you want to, why don't you just let Sister Keqing keep her wedding dress on, and you two can go straight to the bridal chamber. She giggled, her face full of playful teasing. Wu Qi frowned, pinching Lin Daiyu's cheek. If I'm having a bridal chamber, it'll be with you first. Oh, stop it. You're such a tease, Lin Daiyu said, her face flushing as she turned to leave. Wu Qi quickly grabbed her hand. Don't go. We need to open these boxes. Oh, right. I almost forgot. Lin Daiyu, ever sharp, knew exactly what Wu Qi wanted to do. She stopped, her cheeks still rosy, a spark in her beautiful eyes that made Wu Qi's heart race. All right, let's see what we get. Wu Qi pulled out dozens of frost zombie killing treasure boxes. Lin Daiyu opened them one by one, each giving a prompt. Obtained, Void Crystal X7, Void Source Stone X3. Obtained, Void Crystal X3, equipped with, Rotten Armor. Get, Void Crystal X5. Get, Void Crystal X1. The 1-point luck bonus might not sound like much, but with so many boxes, it added up. 618 treasure chests yielded a total of 2,230 void crystals, 276 void source stones, 17 pieces of equipment, and the territorial buildings, barracks, mausoleum, and arrow tower. Wu Qi put away the void crystals and source stones, then carefully inspected the equipment. He was a little disappointed. The equipment was all level 5 to 10. 12 of them were gray, 5 were white. The properties were nothing to write home about. Wu Qi made his selections, then took out the tensile gloves he had drawn earlier and handed them to Lin Daiyu. She accepted them without hesitation, immediately equipping them. Like lords, heroes had equipment slots. Once the equipment was in the slot, it worked. They could also choose to display the equipment or hide it. Lin Daiyu displayed the tensile gloves. The white, scaly gloves hugged her slender hands, like the scales of a white snake, making her look seductive and dangerous. Next, there were the skill books and job class change certificates. You needed to be level 10 to change classes, which wasn't possible yet. The skill book Frost Breath, however, could be used by both Wu Qi and Lin Daiyu. He showed the skill book to Lin Daiyu, her eyes flickered, but she shook her head. This isn't really my style, but Qin Keqing has a gift for magic. This would be great for her. True, Wu Qi replied, recalling Qin Keqing's stats. He was about to check out the new territorial buildings when he heard footsteps. He looked up to see a beautiful figure approaching. She was graceful and elegant, her hair tied up with an emerald jade ornament. Her face was a blend of charm and vulnerability. Her lips were pursed, and she looked at Wu Qi and Lin Daiyu shyly, her eyes glistening as if she were about to cry. She wore a green gauze dress with a red jade belt cinching her waist. She looked both noble and stunning. Beneath the skirt, her pale legs were close together, and Wu Qi couldn't take his eyes off of her. She really is beautiful. Lin Daiyu exclaimed, walking over to take Qin Keqing's hand. Welcome, Sister Keqing. Thank you. Qin Keqing's voice was delicate, like a nightingale's song. Don't be afraid, Sister Keqing, Lin Daiyu said reassuringly. I come from. The two beauties whispered to each other. Lin Daiyu sensed Qin Keqing's fear and anxiety, and was comforting her. Wu Qi watched them, both thrilled and content. This territory feature is unbelievable. 100% chance of beauty. Tears welled up in his eyes. Wild boar Peppa. Even among wild boars, Peppa is beautiful. P.S. Wild boar Peppa, everyone here, collect it quickly. Otherwise, Wild boar Peppa, will kill you. Chapter 29, Hall of Valor. 1/4. Please collect it. The two beauties stood side by side, their beauty pleasing to the eye. But, Wu Qi realized something. Lin Daiyu called her sister Keqing, but Qin Keqing was actually a year younger than her. At 28, Qin Keqing was already incredibly attractive, with a figure that showed off her curves. Chapter 24. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. On the contrary, you'd never guess she was only 16. Now, Lin Daiyu's got the looks and the charm, but let's just say her figure. Someone's giggling. It's not like Sister Lin has any. Wu Qi couldn't help but crack up. Guess it's the price you pay. Sister Lin might have overlord courage, but she definitely lost some curves in the deal. Meanwhile, Lin Daiyu, who was chatting with Qin Keqing, felt a weird twinge, and her eyebrows furrowed. She just had this feeling someone was talking smack. What's wrong, Daiyu? Qin Keqing asked softly, nervously clutching her dress. Lin Daiyu snapped out of it and shook her head. Nothing. Scary how spot-on she is. Wu Qi booked it and breathed a sigh of relief, but then he thought, why should he, as Lin Daiyu's mentor, be afraid of her future hubby? But then he remembered Sister Lin's punch and shuddered. Wu Qi swallowed hard, pulled out some newly acquired territory buildings, thought for a sec, and tossed out 2 defense towers, a frost tower, and an arrow tower. And of course, both defense towers had a plus after their names. Wu Qi tapped them, and multicolored light blasted from his body, enveloping the 2 buildings. Instantly, the light faded. And the arrow towers looked totally different. Frost puppet tower, type, defense. Tower, level, 1/0/200, function, frost spell, level 1, slows enemies in a ranged attack. Monsters frozen to death have a chance to be cursed, fighting for the Lord. Attack range, 200 meters, curse duration, 60 seconds, stock, 10 out of 10, flavor text, rise, my frost warriors. Machine gun tower, type, defense tower, level, 1/0/200, function, machine gun attack, level 1, attack range, 1000 meters, stock, 100/100. 1 inventory equals 1 belt of ammo. Flavor text, rat-a-tat-tat. Rat-a-tat-tat. Frost spell. I can revive monsters to fight for me. Only 60 seconds at level 1, though. Dang, too bad the tech tower isn't a laser cannon. Wu Qi checked them out, opened the territory panel, and moved the 2 defense towers to a separate corner. That left just one corner of the territory without defense towers. The Frost Spell Tower was a magic tower, with a white marble body and a floating crystal on top covered in ice, snow, and skull symbols. The Machine Gun Tower looked more like a horsefly. On top was a statue of a dude holding a massive machine gun, with belts of bullets hanging down from the tower, and get this, the statue looked exactly like Wu Qi. Seriously, Wu Qi was stone-faced as he looked at the other 2 building models in his hands, Mausoleum, and Barracks. He tossed out the Mausoleum first, and it turned into a small graveyard. Then, Wu Qi tapped the plus, and the multicolored light reappeared, covering the cemetery. A moment later, when the light vanished, the building shrank and became a pretty serious-looking temple. Hall of Valor, type, temple, level, 1/0/200, function, resurrect heroes and troops, resurrection limit, level 1-2, interval time, 24 hours, heroes, 1 hour, troops, flavor text, one of the Lord's core buildings. Safe and secure. No way, it turned into the Hall of Valor. Wu Qi was stunned. The Hall of Valor, the hero's soul palace. Just like the description says, it's one of the Lord's core buildings. With this, after heroes and units die, the Lord can resurrect them for a price. So, everyone wants a Hall of Valor, but these things are rare, with a crazy low drop rate and a massive demand. They're basically priceless, impossible to even buy. And now that Wu Chi's got one. Guess it's 'cause I'm so good looking. Wu Chi choked back tears and accepted the fact, then turned and tossed out the barracks. But, instead of growing in the wind like he expected, the little model flew back into Wu Chi's hand like it had been blown by the wind. At the same time, a prompt popped up. Tip: the second barracks can only be opened when the Lord is level 5. Currently we have steel armored shed. Do you want to demolish it? Chapter 30 Frost Breath. 2/4. Please collect it. Demolish the steel armored shed. Wu Chi nodded without hesitation. All joking aside, those steel armored wild boars can definitely hold their own. Getting to level 5 isn't too hard. Upgrading all the buildings is the real challenge. Wu Chi thought for a moment and put the barracks in his inventory. Just then, Lin Daiyu came over with Qin Keqing and bowed gracefully to Wu Chi. Both women looked amazing and stunning. Every expression, every smile, was beautiful. Standing next to each other, they were competing to see who could be prettier. It was almost too much for Wu Chi to handle. Qin Keqing wasn't as scared anymore. Though she still looked a little timid, she seemed calmer now. After Lin Daiyu filled her in on what was going on and told her about her miserable future in the Jia mansion, that she felt relieved. Coming here might be a good thing. She wasn't a fighter to begin with. She just went with the flow and slowly accepted her new identity. Sir, didn't you say you wanted Sister Keqing to learn some skills? Lin Daiyu blinked her gorgeous eyes and said, Keqing should probably get some gear too. Right, Wu Chi snapped out of it and pulled Frost Breath from his inventory. Frost Breath. Type, Skill Book, Quality, Blue, Introduction, learn the magic spell, Frost Breath, which consumes mental power when you don't have mana. Chapter 27. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. In the thick fog, the monsters finally stirred, and with that movement came a tidal wave of them. Whoosh! A strong wind whipped up as the monsters, snarling and ferocious, charged toward the territory. Each one stood about 6.5 feet tall, with red skin, savage faces, and horns. They moved like gorillas, a truly terrifying sight. Here they come, Wu Chi slapped on his true knowledge lenses. Disaster Beast. Level, 9. Skill, Thunder Breath. Elite Disaster Beast. Level, 11. Skills, Thunder Breath, Curse of Disaster, 1, 10, 100, 200, in a heartbeat, thousands of monsters stampeded forward, their roars echoing in the air. Wu Chi narrowed his eyes, scanning the distance, then, he waved his hand. Instantly, every tower roared to life. Chapter 33, Kick-Ass Defense Towers, 1/4. Please collect. A dark, desolate world, the territory was completely encircled. Monsters poured out, an endless tide threatening to engulf everything. Right now, the half-acre territory was a lone boat on a stormy sea, about to be crushed at any moment. Suddenly, a chorus of prolonged fart noises erupted, from the four corners of the territory, each with 1 or 2 stinky fart towers, all blasting away. They aimed their rears at the monsters, unleashing a massive cloud of green mist, an attack of truly unique flavor. The mist blanketed everything, forming a wall in front of the monsters. Roar! Arf! Ha ha ha! The monsters, eyes blazing with rage, pounded the ground with their thick arms, leaving craters. Dust billowed, making the scene even more terrifying and unpredictable. Fearless, they charged straight into the mist. Then, the monsters who had just entered the cloud froze, their faces contorting in agony. The once menacing horde became utterly pathetic. One after another, they convulsed and collapsed. Blood dribbling from their noses and mouths, as the charging monsters in front tumbled, they tripped up those behind, sending them sprawling into the stinky fart cloud. In a split second, huge numbers of monsters lay twitching on the ground. Their powerful bodies suddenly seemed like paper, weak and helpless, their existence a living hell. Bang! 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 The initial defense was a complete success. Wu Chi glanced at the effectiveness of the stinky fart towers, and his face twitched. The new stinky fart towers had, naturally, evolved from the arrow towers that had blown up over the past few days. He wondered if it was connected to the stinky fart tower. There was now 1 or 2 at every corner, and they had all been upgraded to level 4. The level 4 Stinky Fart Tower had vastly increased both its range and power. It just, smelled a bit stronger. Nearby, Lin Daiyu held her nose. Qin Keqing also looked uncomfortable, pinching her nose. Seeing Wu Qi's expression, they wanted to laugh but held back. In reality, the Stinky Fart Tower's attack didn't affect the territory's inhabitants, but the intense sense of déjà vu was overwhelming. Second round, fire. That Wu Qi couldn't take it anymore. Without waiting another second, he issued the order. Immediately, the level 4 Pyroblast Tower shuddered violently, the floating crystals glowing a bright yellow. A fireball larger than a man materialized. Flames roared within it, compressed, gathered. Boom! Suddenly, the fireball shot out, leaving a fiery trail, and slammed into the heart of the monster horde. Bang! A small mushroom cloud erupted. Hundreds of monsters were instantly incinerated. Hundreds more were thrown back, their screams deafening. At the same time, the level 4 machine gun tower unleashed a hail of bullets, the sound of its rapid fire deafening, like a massive Vulcan cannon. Amid the endless sparks, the bullets tore through the stinky fart cloud, ripping the monsters to shreds. The level 4 crossbow tower fired with pinpoint accuracy, the long, armor-piercing bolts penetrating the monsters' thick hides, sometimes hitting 2 or even 3 in a row. At the peak of the level 4 frost spell tower, the crystal pulsed with a blue light, and a river of ice shot out, instantly freezing the ground. The monsters, already reeling from the stinky farts, now either froze solid or writhed in agonizing shivers. The old defense towers were holding strong. The new towers were also impressive. In the southeast corner, 2 brand new defense towers went into action. On one elemental tower, the prismatic crystal stone was engraved with a lightning bolt symbol, and a blinding white light flashed. A second later, a bolt of chain lightning arced out, turning a dozen monsters into charcoal with a crackling sound. On another elemental tower, the prismatic crystal was etched with a water bubble symbol, and a soft blue light shimmered. A dozen bubbles burst forth, enveloping the monsters one by one, trapping them inside. The monsters struggled and roared inside the bubbles, but to no avail. Lightning tower, type, defense tower, level 4, 0/1500, function, chain lightning, level 4, attack range, 1,600 feet, inventory, 50/50, introduction, lightning spell with high lethality, great for crowd control. Bubble tower, type, defense tower, level 4, 0/1500, function, bubble spell, level 4, attack range, 650 feet, inventory, 100/100. Chapter 28. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Introduction, water benefits everything and contains everything. Chapter 34, unlimited refills. Flame, frost, lightning, ground vines, the elemental tower roars, the stinky fart tower exerts the most powerful crowd control, the humanoid statue sprays wildly. A terrifying mist of weakness fills the battlefield. Huge monsters rush forward, only to fall to the ground and succumb to the tower's trial. The ground shakes, and monsters die. Wu Qi sighs in relief, looks like he shouldn't run into any issues. Han. Lin Daiyu walks over, chuckling, those stinky fart towers are doing the heavy lifting. You should pay them some attention, babe. Wu Qi's face falls, but she's not wrong. After upgrading to level 4, the stinky fart tower is even more devastating than the others. Among the special defense towers, it's a top performer. Wu Qi's familiar with Fireblast Tower, Frost Tower, Lightning Tower, and the like, but he's never heard of the Stinky Fart Tower before. Without it, the monster wave would break through the wooden wall. It would threaten the territory's buildings. Wu Qi scratches his head. After a while, the defense tower has wiped out 1,000 or 2,000 monsters. They fall to the ground. A new guest arrives, similar to the previous monsters, but larger, crackling with lightning and a dark aura. Elite monsters. Lots of them. Wu Qi's eyes narrow. The previous wave had only a few. Now, they're everywhere. Roar. Boom. Boom. The elite clawed monsters roar, pounding the ground with their thick arms, charging, like an avalanche. The fog's blown away. Monsters fearlessly attack the territory. They rush into the weak mist, and some fall, but others spit out lightning, resist the stink, and kill like mad. Some still fall, but most escape the stinky farts range. Bang! Boom! The pyroblast tower and others fire, flame, frost, lightning, machine gun, arrow. Each elite monster is targeted, but elite monsters are much tougher than the regular ones, only a third die before reaching the wooden wall. Bang! Bang bang! Durability -10. Durability -10. Durability -10. The monsters attack the wall, but the wooden walls are also special. Many monsters faint as the withering power emanates, but the withering power doesn't compare to the stink. Lightning crackles on the monsters, pushing the withering power away. The withered wood wall ain't cutting it. That Wu Chi shakes his head. Dayu, Kaching, it's showtime. Yes. Yes, the beauties nod, and Wu Chi commands 40 wild boar Peppa Pigs to charge, using Savage Crash to attack the group. Lin Dayu, slightly, level, for physique, 360 plus 21, basic attribute 35, multiplier 1000%. Equipment attribute, 21, bond attribute, 10, spirit, 50 plus 7, basic attribute 4, multiplier 1000%. Equipment attribute, 7, bond attribute, 10, skill, Bajiquan, level 3, Chin Kaching, slightly, level, for physique, 185 plus 11, basic attribute 17.5, multiplier 1000%. Equipment attribute, 11, bond attribute, 10, spirit, 185 plus 18, basic attribute, 17.5, multiplier 1000%. Equipment attribute, 18, bond attribute, 10, skill, frost breath, level 3, choke. Sonic boom sound as ice blue mist freezes everything. Chin Kaching holds the wind and moon treasure mirror, like a fairy bathed in light. Lin Dayu rushes down, small white hands clenched into fists. The scale-like lines on the tensile gloves twist, like white snakes revealing a dangerous aura. 3-point hand, soaring cannon. Boom! A crack more than 10 meters long appears. Lin Dayu turns an ordinary white skill into a small missile, and its unlimited refills. Chapter 35, The Lord's Tactics. If Chin Kaching's a floating fairy, holding the wind and moon treasure mirror, his frost freezes all directions, then Lin Dayu's a human-shaped missile, fast, using Bajiquan repeatedly, huge roars sound. It may not look as spectacular as Pyroblast, but its lethality is far greater. One punch takes out a chunk. The elite disaster beast's tough, otherwise it wouldn't have reached the wall, but facing Lin Dayu's fist, they drop like flies. Boom. 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 The silhouettes blur. Lin Dayu's a phantom. Ordinary people can't keep up. Each defeated disaster beast shows her efficiency. On the other side, Chin Kaching blinks and focuses on casting spells near the Frost Spell Tower, freezing monsters. After the death of a large number of monsters, many have resurrected, no matter how low the probability is. In addition, after reaching level 4, the monster's duration has increased to 20 minutes, and a considerable force has formed, fighting bloody battles among the monster tide. Hit me with your best shot. Wu Chi stands on the city wall, wearing a feather fan and turban, waving his hands. Wrong script. He's wearing normal modern clothes and yelling at the wooden wall. As two smelly farts gush out. Chapter 29. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Each of the elite disaster beasts looked like they'd swallowed something nasty, but they grudgingly summoned lightning and went on the attack. Then, the Peppa Pig wild boars charged in, their massive bodies slamming aside a dozen or so elite disaster beasts, but it wasn't doing much good. Elite disaster beast, race, demon/void, level, 11. Physique, 32 plus 30. Spirit, 17 plus 5, slightly abridged. These terrifying monsters weren't just super strong physically, with demonic blood and a touch of the void. Their skills were wicked. Peppa Pig and the other wild boars could handle regular disaster beasts, but against the elite ones, they were outmatched. If the collision didn't take them out, they'd get a beatdown. Luckily, steel armor, talent helped, so they weren't taking a total loss. Even so, the steel-armored wild boars could only hold on with constant support from the defense towers. Wu Qi stood on the wooden wall and pulled out a sniper rifle to take shots at the disaster beasts, but it wasn't doing a whole lot. Actually, that's to be expected. Normally, a lord's main fighting force comes from their territory. Whether it's heroes, units, magical buildings, or even world wonders, a lord fighting solo isn't the best strategy. A difference of dozens of times in attributes. No wonder the books say defense towers are the ultimate cheat code in the early game. Wu Qi clicked his tongue, realizing he'd been cheating. He had 2 gold heroes, so he thought the monsters were weak and the defense towers were just okay, but, in reality, when a new lord faces monsters, the hero is only a secondary fighter, and the main damage dealer is the defense tower. Even a basic, arrow tower, can put out some serious hurt. That's why, in school, the teachers said to start with 10 militiamen to hold the line, then summon heroes, and then go all in on upgrading defense towers. Once you have the resources, expand the troops and level them up. That's how you transform your army. But that path isn't for me. Wu Qi eyed his territory's special qualities, a plan forming in his mind. Girls are the way to go. 10 times the stats will crush any objections. After level 5, he could build a second barracks and immediately upgrade it to level 5, 2 barracks with a total of 100 soldiers. For newbie lords, that was a scary army. Hopefully they're normal and not weird this time. Wu Qi sighed to himself while ordering the steel-armored wild boars to rampage. Instead of facing the enemy head-on, they used the defense towers for support and relied on savage collisions to break up the battlefield. That way, he could divide the enemy's forces, use numerical advantage to attack weaker targets, and strike at their territory. No doubt about it, he wasn't just playing games for 10 years, he was studying the meta. After more than an hour, all the monsters were dead. Wu Qi felt exhausted. Looking outside, he saw another wave of monsters was coming from behind. Thousands of regular disaster beasts, thousands of elite disaster beasts. The ground outside the territory was dyed red, the ground was covered in bloody mud, with body parts everywhere. Wu Qi grabbed a bottle of water and chugged half of it down, feeling a bit better. This scene is like something out of hell. A clear and sweet voice sounded. It was Qin Keqing. Sweat beaded on her face, her mouth was slightly open, and fear lingered in her eyes. Just a few days ago, she had been fighting, but none of the days had been this bad. Endless monsters, insane killing, fire, explosions, freezing, thunder. P.S. Please save and follow. Chapter 36, It's not over yet. 4/4. Save and follow. The dead world was dyed with blood. Qin Keqing looked drained. She clutched the foam you treasure mirror, sweat dripping down her forehead. Her once pretty face was now drawn with exhaustion. She had no idea how many times she'd cast spells, how many monsters she'd frozen or killed. She was just casting spells automatically, no need to aim, no need to control it, because there were too many monsters. Just throw it out, and you'd hit something. From the fear of blood and corpses to the numbness she felt now, she just wanted to go to that crummy-looking hut and get some rest, and it would be great if she could be next to Wu Qi. That would be the safest place to be. Tired? Wu Qi turned and smiled. Qin Keqing nodded, weakness in her eyes, and whispered, "Sir, usually, this is when the fight ends." Wu Qi looked out at the edge of the territory. There was no monster to be seen in the deathly mist. It should be. No, there's more to come. Wu Qi's eyes narrowed. Simple as that. Battle settlement hadn't popped up. But, before he could answer, a faint voice chimed in. There's more. Under the wooden wall, Lin Daiyu hopped over to the two of them. She was covered in blood and dust, her jade hairpin was gone, and she looked disheveled. Sister Daiyu, you. Qin Keqing was startled and worried. Are you hurt? Don't worry, I'm not some damsel in distress. Lin Daiyu clenched her fist, a hint of satisfaction on her face. Starting over had been great for her. She was happy with who she was now, strong and powerful. She looked at Wu Qi again and said, the young master said that day 10 was going to be tougher. Today's monsters are stronger and there are more of them than yesterday, but, it's not over yet. Maybe at dusk, maybe at night, there will be a new wave of monsters. She sighed and rubbed her shoulders. Young master, I want to get some rest. Sister Lin blinked, a hint of annoyance on her face. Seeing Lin Dayu's expression, Wu Qi's face twitched, and he said helplessly, okay, I'm not some slave driver, don't make that face. Go take a bath, then get some rest. I'll clean up the battlefield. Okay. Then I'll leave it to you, sir. Lin Dayu smiled sweetly, and she became cheerful again. Qin Keqing looked outside, hesitated for a moment, and whispered, or, I can stay and help you, sir. No, go and rest. Wu Qi smiled. Qin Keqing was pulled away by Lin Dayu to take a bath. Chapter 30. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Watching them go, Wu Qi sighed in relief and whistled the scarred wild boar's back. Time to grab the loot. Good thing being a lord means treasure collection is all in the mind, no actual labor required. He trudged through the mountains of corpses and seas of blood, each step a squelch on the mottled, dark red ground, the air thick with a revolting stench. 100, 1,000, over half an hour later, Wu Qi finally gathered all the kill chests, his face a mask of disgust. 4320 in total. He groaned, damn, that's a crazy amount of monsters for day 10. Seriously, normally, new lords only face elite monsters on day 10. But in the endless void, especially in the newbie trials, the strength of the monster wave scales with the territory's overall power. A stronger territory. Tougher monsters. Back at his base, Wu Qi washed his face to clear his head. Refreshed, he returned to the hut. The two women were already lounging on the couch. Lin was already in bed, fresh from a bath and radiating energy, clad only in a simple white gown, a gentle smile gracing her pretty face. She seemed to be enjoying this new life. Qin Keqing was still awake. She sat up quickly when Wu Qi entered, then, realizing she was barely dressed, grabbed a robe and slipped it on, looking at him with shy, alluring eyes. Her gaze was so captivating, Wu Qi nearly stumbled. He swallowed hard, fighting down the desire building within him, and said, Keqing, can you help me open some boxes? Of course. Gladly. Qin Keqing replied, scrambling to sit up. Before she could put on her slippers, Wu Qi stopped her, sitting beside her and pulling out the kill chests one by one. Qin Keqing glanced at the man next to her, catching a whiff of his powerful masculine scent, and her cheeks flushed. Fascination bloomed in her eyes, her body trembling slightly. With a delicate, almost frightened expression, she began opening the treasure chests. Got, Void Crystal X1. Obtained, Void Crystal X7, Void Source Stone X2. Get, Void Crystal X2. Get, Void Crystal X1. Obtained, Void Crystal X1, Gray, Pistol. Chapter 37, 4,000 Treasure Chests. 1/4, please collect. Over 4,000 treasure chests. Even just thinking about opening them would have worn Wu Qi out, but with Qin Keqing's mental abilities, she could breeze through them. Easy peasy. Soon, all the kill chests were empty. The haul, 7320 void crystals, 1843 void source stones, 23 pieces of equipment, 2 skill books, and a heap of supplies. The real prizes: A. Barracks, blueprint, for Arrow Tower, blueprints, A. Flame Tower, blueprint, and A. Restaurant, blueprint. So much stuff. Wu Qi needed to sort through it all. Alright, go get some rest, Wu Qi said softly. Qin Keqing nodded shyly, gazed at him with her beautiful eyes, then laid back down and closed her eyes. Wu Qi quietly slipped out and began organizing his gains. The void crystals and source stones were straightforward, straight to the inventory. As for the 23 pieces of equipment, most were just plain gray and white junk, beneath Wu Qi's notice. The one green item, a Wolf Fang sword, was swapped out for his own alloy longsword and strapped to his waist. The 2 skill books were Fireball and Magic Talisman. The first was a basic white skill, the second a more advanced blue one. However, Magic Talisman had learning prerequisites, level 1 in both talismaking and Taoism. Typically, only classes like Immortal Cultivators could learn it. Fireball had no requirements, but its damage was so-so. Wu Qi decided to stash them both for now. The remaining supplies were mostly food and water, which Wu Qi already had plenty of, so he stored them away. Suddenly, his inventory was overflowing. Time to place some buildings. He started with an extra arrow tower at each of the 4 corners. Next step, plug-in time. Wu Qi tapped the plus. A rainbow flash, a few seconds, and then 4 new towers materialized. A Pyroblast Tower, A Frost Tower, A Machine Gun Tower, and A Crossbow Tower. Thank God, no Stinky Fart Tower. Wu Qi chuckled. Stinky Fart Towers were powerful, sure, but he already had too many. Control wasn't his problem anymore, he needed raw damage. Then, Wu Qi plopped the Flame Tower down, sticking it haphazardly on the wooden wall. Flame Towers were dime a dozen elemental towers, spitting flames, but their damage couldn't compare to a Fire Explosion Tower, but that was before the cheat. Wu Qi tapped that plus button. Fire Rain Tower, type, Defense Tower, level, 1, 0/200, function, Fire Rain, level 1, 60-second interval, attack range, 2000 meters, stock, 1/1, description, devastating area of effect spell, a high-temperature rain of fire capable of scorching the very air. Just like the Frost Spell Tower, rare and potent. Wu Qi grinned. The Frost Spell Tower had already proven its worth in the previous battle. The Frost Spell alone was incredible, but the Frost Puppet it summoned tore a gaping hole in the monster tide, setting up the other towers for maximum damage. This Fire Rain Tower, with only 1 charge every 60 seconds, must pack one hell of a punch. With that in mind, Wu Qi checked his remaining Void Source stones, opened his attribute panel, and started leveling up. Fire Rain Tower, level 1-2. Level 2-3. Level 3-4. Level 4-0/1500, function, Fire Rain, level 4. 1700 Void Originiums, gone in a flash.